Hello, everybody. This is Charles Anderson. I'm just a guy from Goodwill with a really great video game idea, and of course, I've already made my video game project. It is September 11th, 2013. I don't know whether to put this in an update or put this in with the actual education for using C# and Microsoft Visual Studio and XNA, that little combo. Oh, right, my font. Okay. However, I realized that when going into this, I'm going to be programming this, but I will have an underlying foundation that I will be going with, best application of my knowledge to the situation. So I'm going to be actually writing a framework, and that framework will coincide with that B2XNA project that I have going, and I do not have it up, but let me go ahead and pull it up. With a project much like a video game. With the video game, you have your basic art look, your script the storyline that you already have in your head, and a lot of this stuff you're just pulling out into reality onto paper. So one of these underlying structures is going to be this Blender to XNA file that I'm creating, and it's going to have the models and scenes. Here, let's just look at the notes because I haven't gone further into that. I have deemed it not important at this time to develop. But the thing about XNA, it has the 3D models, the meshes, the model meshes, the bones, the animations, the lights. I could even put up IK rigging where the feet always meet the ground at the proper angle and such not. After reading through a lot of Blender source code, there are a lot of great options out there. And I, as Charles Anderson, have to decide, all right, what am I going to put in my game out of all these options that are available? When I write my game, I am actually limiting what the computer can do. That's one of the things that Xbox developers have to do. They have to limit what the Xbox can do down to a few sets. Well, that's what the XNA team had to do. They had to limit the Xbox sets down to a certain amount of things. So to expand it, we have to expand it. We have to add stuff in parallel, which is not supported for Xbox initially in my case, and just make the game that I want to see. So I've got this underlying structure that I'm going to be doing. Now, much like, as discussed earlier, you can add fonts, models, these folders, and to call them in code, we have this load content section. And look, UV maps idiog title. And there's my UV maps idiog title. Now, I haven't gone anything, and where you render it is here in the draw section. And I just really haven't done much of anything. It's just a regular old sprite batch.draw. Just give it a position and its background color, which is white. And I'll go ahead and just do that output. I mean, this is just I'm setting up my text for my console section of my video game, and then just splatted the image out, which of course is just way big, so I can scale that. But anyway, draw in the draw, load in the load, or load content. So I'm going to keep that straight. But I'm going to be having some underlying structures that I will be coding in here, and one of the things that you can do for any individual project inside of a solution is that you can add folders to keep stuff organized. So like for me, one of my namespaces will be Blender to XNA, and it may even be a separate project inside of this. I could probably merge it. But what I'm saying here is, like in 2D, I'm getting ready to code up the code for working with Sprite Batch, which is XNA's 2D renderer. So when you're working in components, of course, you got to think of it like I think of it like a process. And now its namespace here is itiog.render.in2d. So whatever classes I put under the render folder, the render is just added on as the namespace. If I wanted to, I could take it out, but then it would be under the scope of itiog. And I've decided to classify it as itiog. Here's its render namespace, and then the various rendering engines inside. So I'll have in 2D, in 2.5D, which you can think of as three-dimensional billboards, which are always perpendicular to the screen, and then there would be another 0.25D where everything is three-dimensional, but here's its two-dimensional attributes for a two-dimensional game. My game is going to be 3D, but it's going to have some two-dimensional modes. So I will have it to where it will have a clip plane that it calculates on for boundary checks. And then, of course, there will be the 3D. So I'm going to have my different sections in here. And okay, the point of this was just to say namespaces. If it's just a folder, then it gets added to the namespace. If it's actual class with code and data, then it becomes the class inside of that namespace. So that's the point I was trying to make. And I'm going to be coding on this, but this is one important point. The first one was where showing how to add folders to keep your content organized for a large project like mine. And here is where I'm telling you, just explaining that you can add folders to an individual project inside of your solution, and you can have multiple projects running for one solution, which run in parallel. But that has to do with the whole build options. I can't remember where that is at the moment off the top of my head. It is not important now, as that I'm just working on a game. And there we are. Okay, so that's all I had to say, and thanks for listening. All right.